name. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Well, the first time I heard rock and roll was in my mom's car. I can remember 1964, my mom drove a Thunderbird, and she drove us to school every day and had the music blaring.
What I Say by Ray Charles, I think, was my thing that changed my life. I mean, I had grown up with some folk music, but when I heard What I Say, it was over. I was hooked.
I do remember the first moment that I heard rock and roll. It was Elvis's Hound Dog. I believe it was 1954. I was 9 years old.
That's Supreme's record for me. Really? Yeah, and it was great because we got to back up Mary Wilson from the Supremes and play all those songs that I was so into.
That was so much fun.
But the first, as soon as, like probably you guys, seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan that was it. That's when I knew.
And then I had relationships with my aunt who lived in San Francisco in the 60s. We'd go spend spring break with her. She'd take us to Haight-Ashbury. She knew some artists that were in a group called the We Five. They would come to our home for dinner. So it just kind of moved on from there, and just have always been involved in loving music.
And myself and my cousins used to do little dance shows for our parents to Elvis's Hound Dog. So that was ingrained in my mind since I was 9 years old.
Yeah, I was 15 years old. It was 1955. First time I heard Little Richard, I just went crazy. I said, man, that's the greatest voice I've ever heard in my life. And so that just turned me on, and from that moment I taught myself how to play the piano and just became a singer.
This is great. Whatever this is, it is great. I love it. So that's how it all started off for me.
I'm going up, I'm going down, I'm going up, down, down, anyway you go.
The parents of the 50s said, it's a fad, it'll never last, that Elvis guy, he's done, no one's going to do that. And truly 61 years later, rock and roll, even through its various changes, is still here.
Well, what I have always said is this festival at sea, so to speak, is all of these people grew up in the same period, the same generation, but they all listen to this music. It just happened in different parts of the country.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. That's level's fine. I'll let you do the guys need me here. They are needing me. Check 1, 1, 1. Check 1.
And even today, this music is still used because it makes you feel good. It doesn't matter what your age is. You can hear the lyrics, you can sing the lyrics, and you can remember your mom playing the record.
'65. The tune came out just about when school was just getting out and parents were taking the kids to different parts of the country on family vacation.
Concerts at Sea is a one-of-a-kind experience, I do believe. The people behind the scenes that work all year to make it happen, Bob and Barbara Harmon, Tammy, Selee, Dave, everybody puts so much time into this thing that it really is a project of love.
It was my father's idea, actually. He told Harmon, because we live in the same town, why don't we play on this cruise? And Bob said, great idea, and that's how it started. And that was, about 1990, 92.
And at the time, the company that I worked for was the travel agency for Paul Revere and the Raiders in Boise, Idaho, what I call the cruise capital of the world, Boise, Idaho. And Paul traveled and was in and out of the office from time to time. And some other cruise lines were asking him to come do some theme cruises. And I was walking to my car in the parking lot, and Paul came to me and saw me in the parking lot and said, hey, I'm going to start doing these theme cruises. Do you want to get on board? And not knowing any better or anything, I said yes, and it really changed my career path and started this project. So if it hadn't been for Paul Revere, none of us would be here. And so we did that, and then after a while the theme cruises kind of went away, but we had met so many of the great artists and we met so many of the great passengers, and they wanted someone to keep it going. And myself and Bob Harmon said, well, we'll keep it going. And so about 11 years ago, we started producing the event all by ourselves.
I just came on as a technician for one of the cruises because of Paul Revere, and it was a technician and the manager. And then that filtered into, this isn't going to work. And we changed it into bringing the acts on, and then Concerts C asked me to, with all the acts I've worked with the years, can I go ahead and get the entertainment for them too? So we sit down and go through all the choices.
Ron Lemen is the guy in charge of all this, and we just love him so much and grateful that we're here, really.
Yeah.
At the end of the cruise, we get questionnaires out, and naturally somebody wants to see Paul Simon on here. They want to see Paul McCartney, or they want to see, they even put people that are dead that they want to see. So, we kind of X that one out and go, no, that's not available at this time.
To be perfectly honest, this is only at a point where it is now because of the artists talking about it at their concerts, their web pages, their Facebook pages, but also the passengers, because they're so passionate about the project that they have embraced it as their own project.
It's the artist that makes it happen. We only put artists on the ship that are personable, and they know that at dinner time somebody's going to want to shake their hand or an autograph. There's some artists that won't do that. There's some that won't walk around the ship. They'll stay in the cabin, you won't see them. We don't work with those kind of artists because it's real important that they interact with the crowd. That's why they're paying the money to be on this cruise. You know, if it's somebody that they see and they can't talk to, you know, they leave it unhappy with it.
Yeah, and it was a cruise ship in the Caribbean.
I don't know about you, but the first time I got on here, I didn't know what to expect being with them so much because every corner there are fans there to talk to. And at first it was a little intimidating to me, but then you kind of get used to it, you start learning the face, and they're not fans anymore, they're friends. And it's kind of neat to, I mean, some of these people have been here, I think some guy told me last night this is his 21st year in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah, after 21 years of doing something, you get to know people pretty well.
It's kind of an interesting, fun thing, concert to see, because you get on a ship for a week, and the deal is that you're out and about, and you meet everybody who's come to see your show and other shows.
Which
and
is really fun.
And
So
it's like, you're like famous for a week.
yeah, but the other fun thing about that is that you are on the ship. You do see all these people and meet them, and so now you're basically doing a concert for all your friends.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. Kind of, and they're
mingle.
yes, we're very approachable.
We love to actually give back to the fans because they are the reason we are where we are. You know, so if you think about it that way, they're the ones that made you, so give back to them. You know, and I like the fact that, you know, when you're on a cruise, you can't go anywhere. You can't escape it, you must accept it. I accept that people are going to want to talk to me, that are going to pull me in different directions and stuff, and it's all okay.
I have people at the end, you know, say this is the best, you know, cruise, this is the best artist I've seen. You know, it's not like going to a concert where you're 100 feet away from them. You're right there in their face.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people come back, so you get to know a lot of the people. You get to talk to them and hang with them. And yeah, and the showroom's a great showroom. They're all up close, and you know, it is like family. And I carry my daughter, sings with me. And
you know, Jamie's dad was Paul Revere, so it's cool. Jamie was in the band at one time, and now he's back in the band. And you know, I mean, if he weren't Paul's son, he would have been like me, listening to that music with my parents, and then we find ourselves in the band. That's pretty cool.
And we all know each other very well. I know what is going to get Susan upset or Bob upset, and all these vice versas. So, you know, if I were to upset Susan, it would be on purpose. And I would be pushing the buttons it took to do that. No.
Well, we offer them so many things. Like there'll be that question and answer session, which is a big part that some of the cruises don't do, and they'll be able to answer a stupid question that, you know, the artist hasn't heard in years.
Now that's an honest answer. We did it for money. They know what I'm talking about.
And that's where they get personal with them. And then we have the cocktail parties where the artists show up and meet and greet people. We have the autograph thing where they finally get to shake hands and bring their album that they've had in their closet for years to get signed.
Now I'm glad they're here, because the only time I actually stop eating is when I'm talking to the fans. So they actually keep me from gaining 30 pounds per cruise. No.
Everybody gets into it. We were laughing, and somebody said, "Well, where's your sock hop?" And I said, "Well, oh look, I have white socks on." So that was all I had to contribute to the sock hop. But people really get into it. People plan for what they're going to do, and clearly, if you saw some of the costumes, people have put some thought into those costumes.
favorite band? Wow.
Oh boy.
My favorite band, without a doubt.
Who's my favorite band? Probably
Eagles. Eagles are my favorite.
Oh, I was a big Leonard Skinner fan. Yeah. That's like favorite
Led
color.
Zeppelin.
Can I give 3?
My favorite band is actually a solo artist, Elvis Presley.
The greatest duo ever, in my opinion, is Bill Medley and Bobby Hatfield, the Righteous Brothers. And I told him that a little while ago.
Oh, and the Who too. I can't forget that. The Who. Gotta have the Who.
I'm a different generation, but Van Halen's my favorite band.
Steely Dan?
I'm gonna go with the standard Beatles.
I want to change mine. Captain Skeech and the Shrimp Shack Shooters.
That's right, baby. You can go ahead and tell us what you're going to say, and then we'll keep going from there.
Toto? And Yes. How about that, huh? My friends are over there.
You can turn on the TV tomorrow and if somebody's using a commercial with this music, or somebody's trying to sell a car with this music, it's you know, it's a generational music. So I think it transcends a long time. And you know, my daughters are in their 20s, and you know, they know all this music. So I think that the people that are on this cruise, they're making sure that their grandchildren and their children know this music. So it's a great legacy that, you know, even though in the past several years we've lost some of these great artists, their music will always be around. And that's, you know, quite a legacy for them to have to leave, you know, for generations to come.
This generation did grow up with us, because what I've found out is we are playing to the same people we played to in the 60s, and now we're all in our 60s, you know. But they bring their kids, and they bring their kids, so we're playing to like 3 generations
none of us would have thought at our age today anyone would be interested in our music from 1967, you know.
that didn't occur to
But
us.
the songs now carry all of us. I mean, come on, we're all old, you know, and you don't need to see me with gray hair, but you want to hear the rain, the fog, and other things, you know, so that's what it's all about, is the music.
And I get emails from these little 7-year-old girls that say, "It's so wonderful. I love all your music because my grandmother sings me to sleep with your songs." Ah, I love it.
Facebooks, we all get Facebooks from all these people all year round, and now their kids are, I mean, these groups started back in the 60s, so now these people's kids are coming on the same cruise and enjoying the music that their parents and grandparents like, and now all these bands are being reintroduced to a whole new crowd, and I don't even think the Harmons with the Harmon Travel realized that was going to happen, but now they've almost got a new cruise happening because of all these younger people coming out. This thing might go another 30 years.
And I decided after watching Walter Scott that being a singer was a great thing because the singer gets all the girls.
To make an artist happy? You gotta be kidding me.
We're dismissed. We've gone A and we can go.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for.
No, I loved it. I love doing it. I love it. I really do. Playing music is the thing.